After going back watching the film on Sunday, it revealed several things. That Frank Harris is human, that the extraordinary game that he played in week one is he's capable of doing it because he's shown it, but he's also a guy who has missed 3 years of football and still working his way back into game shape, game type situation. And to see him progress will be something that will be ongoing throughout the duration of the season. Number two, Baylor University is a very, very talented football team. I'd be surprised if they're not in the talk of the Big 12 upper echelon teams come the back end of the season. Number three, we didn't play very well in no phase in offense, defense, or special teams. We got behind and it was very difficult to come back. Here's the beautiful thing. Down 35-0 at halftime, could have easily packed it in, but instead came out and put 14 points on the board in the second half with 7 of, 12 or whatever in third down situations where it was dismal, 1 of in the first half. Defense finally was able to get stops at times to get them off the field. Special team that sputtered, giving up a punt return for a touchdown and muffing a punt as well that gave a touchdown and led to a touchdown, which made it even more lopsided. But finally started to tackle a little better, started to move the ball as an offense, and saw some bright spots. So some silver linings that were in there, and we kind of talked about it on Saturday. And one of those things certainly was Sincere McCormick. Certainly was at times the play of the offensive line and creating gapping holes that those backs could run through. So I never say die spirit. The best part of it that defined our team was after their last touchdown, you have a Jalen Haynes and a King Newton that go between in the A gap between the center and the guard on field goal block for the PAT and literally crawling to the block spot to try to get their hand on the ball. And when you have that type of effort and that type of never say die spirit, it's promising. It's hopeful that we can continue to build, that our team did not pack it up and walk away, but continue to fight all the way till the end of the game.
You mentioned that Sincere McCormick wanted to stay in the game. What was that conversation like with him?
They all did. Frank Harris did. I'd never even, Sincere, I was rotating guys in, and he put himself back in the game, ran. I was like, Coach, I got it. And so, I was glad to see that Frank at the back end of the game, when the game was out the balance, was like, Coach, let me get one more series. Coach, I want to go. And I've been around guys who at that point want to chuck it in. And that wasn't the case. The number one offensive line wanted to be in there. Your starting quarterback wanted to be in there. Your starting running back wanted to be in there because here's what we said to our team. You can't score 50 points in one play. You can only score 1 touchdown. All right? And you can only have 1 play at a time. And if we take that mentality and play 1 snap at a time, regardless of what the scoreboard is, let's just get better. Let's improve ourselves throughout the duration of the game. And I thought in the third and fourth quarter, we finally got better as a team. It didn't reflect that on the scoreboard, but we did in actuality.
Frank, where did you see a certain that Frank Harris can, generally speaking, he didn't play obviously as well. The competition was different on that, but what are just some of the cursory things, some of the things that you saw where he could maybe improve?
Yeah, just being him. The thing that made him one of the more coveted quarterbacks in this state and in this region in the country was being Frank Harris. The thing that garnered him the starting job was just being Frank Harris. And so sometimes guys try to press and do too much. And we don't need him to do that. We just need him to be Frank, because Frank is good enough for us. And if we could continue to protect him, early on the first series, he gets sacked, and it was all because of a communication deal. We turned a guy loose. They ran that same blitz 5 other times, and they never came close to him. But the presence of it is something that we need to take into account and how it affects us as an offense in totality.
Coach, playing the teams that the Baylors, the Armies, the names that are on your schedule, how does that help you guys going forward when you'll have less competition later on?
Yeah, I think it'll help us. I think this team we're about to play, they're pretty good now, and they're not overwhelming in size and stature. And I say this respectfully, you don't even look at them in this. It's this first round draft pick, a guy who's dynamic with talent. But they play relentlessly. They play well as a team. They do what they do as well as anybody in the country. And where they don't match up on paper, they do with effort and cohesiveness as a team. And you watch them take Oklahoma to overtime. You watch them take Michigan to overtime. You watch the bowl game of them in Houston, and we know what that resulted in. They're a very, very good football team that limit your opportunities as an offense because they control the clock with their offense. And so their defense play well because they don't play that much in one sense, but when they are out there, they play together, and they play very hard.
Frank, that offense, speaking of that offense, I know that they're very sound fundamentally all across on offense and defense, but offensively, can you talk just about that offense that they run, that midline option, that option game that really catches a lot of teams that they have trouble stopping? Yeah, triple option.
Triple option, belly down with the fullback, who's back for them, and a good player, very good player for them, a dynamic quarterback who was the bowl game MVP and all everything that will lull you to sleep. In the moment that you run up, throw it over your head. They're minimal in the times that they do throw the ball, but when they do throw it, it counts. And a year ago, averaged 20-plus yards per reception. This year, it's probably 30-plus per reception. And so when they hit, it's a big hit. And guys are usually wide open, and it's done so because of scheme and how they've set you up for the big play.
Have you faced anything close to that since you've been here? Is there anything you can
No, we haven't since we've been here. Guys, thank God my defensive staff had. Coach Rollins, when he was certainly at Tulane, they played Army, Navy. They played the military teams all the time. But it would be way back when I was at Nicholls State 1AA or high school. It was the last time I faced in this volume of triple option offense.
So for the first meeting, Frank, when you're meeting a team like that, defense, we got to tell you guys, hey, assignment defense, right? It's all that's the name of the game, assignment defense.
Discipline sound. Don't take the bait. Play your responsibility in making the play may not mean make the tackle. That you have a response, because the minute you made the tackle, they're going to come right back to you, and they're going to put that bait out there and take advantage of that gap that is not secured. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Frank.